Millions of Americans are sitting on record amounts of home equity right now. But equity by itself does not pay the bills. In this video, I'll show you how to turn that dead money that's sitting in your home right now into real predictable monthly cash flow. And by the way, the wrong way to do this can wipe you out completely. I'll show you those mistakes too. I'm going to go over 3 strategies that you can use right now to pull equity out of your home and to turn it into monthly income. Strategy number 1, pulling equity out using a HELOC. So a HELOC is a home equity line of credit, which is the acronym. So you go to the bank and you apply and then you open a HELOC. This is exactly the strategy that Danielle used to buy her second home. And a HELOC is basically a credit line secured by your house. So the bank lets you borrow, let's say, $50,000 against $300,000 of equity. You don't have to borrow the full amount right away. You just draw what you need. So let's do a math check. So you borrow $50,000 against $300,000 that's already sitting in your house and it's not doing anything. The HELOC interest rate, let's say, is about 7%. The monthly interest-only payment is about $300 a month. So here's where it gets interesting. Instead of leaving that $50,000 in your home where it's doing nothing, you take it and you use it as a down payment on a rental property that costs about $200,000. So you put down the $50,000 from the HELOC, which is your money anyway, and you finance the other $150,000 in a normal mortgage, just like you might have done on your original home. And now you own an investment property. The cool part about that is on the $150,000 mortgage on the investment property, that is being used against the collateral of the investment property. So you remember that HELOC? You borrowed the $50,000 and that monthly payment is about $300. Well, that rental is bringing about $600 in monthly cash flow. So the property pays off the HELOC interest for you, and you still keep about $300 each and every month of positive cash flow. And on top of that, you're building equity in itself. And you're taking advantage of the appreciation. So the tenant is actually paying off the mortgage for you. But here's the catch. What happens if interest rates go up and your $300 HELOC payment turns into $600? Well, now you have no cash flow. That can wipe your cash flow out really fast. That's why HELOCs are powerful, but they're best for shorter term opportunity. You have to plan for volatility. The second strategy is a cash out refinance. And you guys know we talk about this a lot, especially here at MC Companies. But this is another way to turn your home equity into monthly cash flow again. It's called a cash out refinance. This is different than the HELOC because instead of opening a separate line of credit against the equity, you're actually replacing the old mortgage with a brand new, bigger one, and the bank hands you the difference in cash. So let's say you own that same house worth about $500,000. You still have the $200,000 left on the current mortgage. That means you got $300,000 in equity, just like when we were talking about in the HELOC. But remember, the equity by itself doesn't pay you anything. It's just sitting there. So you go to the bank and you refinance your mortgage. So instead of keeping the $200,000 balance you had, the bank gives you a new loan for, let's say, $300,000. They pay off your old loan of $200,000 and you walk away with $100,000 in cash. That's the cash out part. The coolest part about this strategy is that it's tax-free because it's debt. It's not a sale. So the government wants their pound of flesh when you sell something, but you're not selling. You're just harvesting the existing cash in the property that you already own. Now, of course, this is not free money. Your loan is bigger, so your payment goes up. So let's say the mortgage was about $1,200 per month. With the new $300,000 mortgage, your payment jumps to about $1,900 a month. So that's a $700 increase. Now let's imagine what happens when you put the $100,000 to work, because you got to offset that $700 somehow. So you use it on a down payment, let's say on an investment property of about $400,000. So the bank finances the other $300,000 with a mortgage. So your $100,000 plus the bank's $300,000 secured against the rental property. Now you've gone from owning just your personal home to owning an income property. So let's do the math. So let's say this $400,000 rental property brings in about $3,000 a month in rent. So after you cover the mortgage payment, the property taxes, insurance, and the maintenance, you're going to be left with around $1,000 of true net cash flow each and every month. So that's real spendable money after all the bills are paid. Now remember, when you did the cash out refinance, your personal home payment went up by $700, but your new rental is producing $1,000 in monthly cash flow. So that means not only did you completely cover that increase, but you also created an extra $300 a month in positive income. On top of that, think about everything else that is happening. Your tenants are paying down that $300,000 rental mortgage for you each and every month, and they are building equity for you by doing this. The property itself is appreciating in value over time, especially with the inflation that we're all expecting to see in the upcoming years. The money that you pulled out is tax-free because it's a cash-out refinance and it's not a sale. And because it's debt, it's therefore not taxable. Rents traditionally go up in strong markets, so you're going to want to make sure that you're buying in one. But your mortgage payment is going to stay the same. So your rents will go up and your mortgage payment will stay flat, therefore increasing your cash flow each and every year. And one of the most important things are the tax advantages that you're going to get from actually owning investment property that the IRS gives you for providing housing. Once you realize that you can use what they call net operating losses for depreciation that you're going to get to offset ordinary income, you're going to really get hooked. So the $1,000 a month net cash flow is just a starting point traditionally. It will be significantly more over time if you buy in the right market. So this is the real power of a cash out refinance. You're taking equity that was just sitting inside of your home that's doing absolutely nothing for you, and you're converting it into another property that produces real income each and every month. This builds wealth over time, grows your portfolio, and this is all paid off by the tenant that occupies your investment property. But here's the catch. What if rents soften in the market? Or what if your new tenant stops paying? Or what if you want to refinance and the new mortgage rates are higher than expected? That's why you always need to stress test the numbers and, of course, stress test the market. Do not assume that markets are always going to be in favor. And do not overextend yourself, either with the money you take out or with the leverage that you're going to use to buy a new property. Done right, this strategy can multiply your properties and your income. Done wrong, it can leave you house poor, stressed, and one tenant problem away from big financial trouble. Gold is near all-time highs, but appreciation isn't the only way to benefit. Monetary Metals, you could potentially earn a yield on your gold, paid in physical gold, without selling it. Here's how it works. When you lease your gold through their platform, pre-qualified companies pay to use it under strict guidelines, like renting out real estate, but with gold. Instead of paying to store your metal, you may earn up to 4% annually in gold. You stay in control, and you can choose which leases to participate in. Monetary Metals handles the due diligence, lease terms, and all the administration. Thousands of investors use this approach to grow their gold, not just sit on it. Visit monetary-metals.com/Ken to learn more. Leasing gold involves risk, and returns are not guaranteed. This is not an offer to buy or sell securities. Please review all risk disclosures at monetary-metals.com. Visit monetary-metals.com/Ken to learn more. All right, let's go to the third strategy, and this is a home equity loan. So this one works a little differently. Instead of a flexible line of credit like a HELOC or a home equity line of credit, or replacing your whole mortgage like a cash-out refinance, a home equity loan gives you a lump sum of cash at a fixed interest rate and a fixed monthly payment. It's predictable, simple, and easy to plan around. So now let's go back to our example. Your home is worth $500,000. You owe $200,000 on your original mortgage, which means that you've got $300,000 in equity. So you decide to take a home equity loan out for $75,000. So the bank gives you $75,000 in cash up front at an interest rate of, let's say, 6%, fixed. That means your monthly payment is about $450 each and every month. No surprises, no rate changes, just the same payment each and every month. Now, what do you do with the $75,000? You find something that pays way beyond 6%, which is the rate that you pulled it out at. So let's say you use it or invest it to buy into a small self-storage facility with a partner, for example. Your share of the deal produces a 10% annual return. That means each and every year that you should be getting about $7,500 in passive income from that self-storage investment. Now, if you break that down monthly, that's about $625 a month in cash flow. So here's the math. You're paying the bank $450 a month, but your investment is paying you $625 a month. That's a net of about $175 in positive net cash flow into your pocket. And remember, that's before factoring in the appreciation of the self-storage facility or the fact that the cash flow often increases over time. Not to mention the fact that the people that are paying rent to the self-storage facility are actually paying down the mortgage for you. This is the beauty of a home equity loan. You know exactly what you're paying, you know exactly what you're getting, and if you place that money into the right kind of investment, you've just converted dead equity into predictable monthly income. No surprises, no moving targets. And don't forget, this is your money anyway. But here's the catch. It only works if you put that money into something that actually produces income. If you take the $75,000 out and you buy a boat or a car or speculate on something that does not cash flow, now you're just stuck paying that $450 a month out of your own pocket with nothing coming back. That's how people get into trouble. I like to call it lifestyle creep. If you're going to pull the money out, invest it at a higher percentage than it's costing you to get it. So done correctly, this is one of the safest, most predictable ways to turn equity into cash flow. Done wrong, it's just another liability hanging over your head. So here are the biggest things you need to watch out for. Number one is over-leveraging. The number one mistake people make is borrowing too much against their home. So remember, you still have to pay that loan back no matter what. If your investment doesn't cash flow right away, or let's say you hit a vacancy, you could be stuck making payments out of pocket. You always want to leave yourself with a safety cushion. Number two, rising interest rates. So HELOCs can be especially dangerous if rates rise. So that $300 monthly payment could suddenly become $600. So you got to run your numbers with higher rates to see if your deal still works under pressure. Market volatility. So what if rents fall? What if your new property sits vacant for 3 months? You need reserves, you need cash in the bank so you can cover those months without panicking. Number four, illiquidity. Once you put your home equity into another property or an investment, it's not liquid anymore. You can't just snap your fingers and get that money back. So make sure you don't pull more equity out than you can afford to have tied up for the next several years. Number five, using equity for the wrong thing. If you pull out equity and just spend it on a car, a boat, or vacation, well, that doesn't generate any income. That could be just more debt. So you've added a new monthly bill with no new cash flow to cover it. And this is how people get into real financial trouble. Number six, timing the market wrong. If you refinance at peak rates or buy a property in a declining market, your numbers can look very, very different from year to year. So be conservative and assume conditions will get tougher, not easier. Number seven, not stress testing. This is the one thing pros do. They always ask, what happens if rates go up? What happens if they go down? What happens if expenses go up? What happens if I have vacancies for significantly longer than what I thought? If your plan still works under all those scenarios, then you're going to be in good shape. If you plan for those with adequate reserves and you budget correctly, you're going to be fine. If it only works when things go perfectly, then that's a gamble. And that's not really an investment where you've considered everything. So let's recap. We just went through 3 ways that you can turn your home equity into real monthly cash flow. With a HELOC, you can tap into your equity flexibly and use it to pick up a rental. But you've got to watch out for those rising rates. With the cash out refinance, you replace your old mortgage with a bigger one. You pocket the difference and you put that money into an income property. The danger is timing the market wrong. And with the home equity loan, you get a lump sum with predictable fixed payments. If you put that money into something that doesn't cash flow, then it turns into nothing but debt. The big idea here is simple. Equity sitting in your home doesn't do anything for you. It looks great on paper. It's great to talk about, but it's truly just dead money. When you use it the right way, I mean conservatively, in real assets to produce real income, you're converting that dead money into living money. and of course into cash flow that you can use each and every month. So if you want to see the biggest mistakes to avoid before buying a property, just watch this video next.